Wait, so let me get this straight. You think people making more money for more things is good?
More money, more good.
More money, more good. We have yet another competing title for 5-Minute Finance. I'm Matt Robeson, and that is Mike Morton, the expert behind 5-Minute Finance. He's the engine that makes the whole thing go. And this is the show where we just try to lighten your load. We're not trying to optimize you to the fifth decimal point. We are trying to take things off your to-do list forever, get you great answers, and get you on your way. The idea behind today's show is lots of people these days are getting into side hustles, side hustles, fourth dimensional tesseract side hustles. And is there a way to manage all of that without burning yourself out? Is it possible? Is it doable? Is this all stupid and just a scammy late night pitch that you're going to hear on ads that you skip through because, you know, it's the modern world? Mike, you think this is a real thing?
But wait, there's more, Matt.
But wait, there's as seen on TV. I mean, let me get this clear. You think that people really there is a smart way to actually do multiple income streams and not like drive yourself insane? Like this actually works for people?
Yeah. And we're not going to optimize and side hustle you into burnout. We are going to take things off your plate in this episode and relieve the anxiety of, should I be doing more?
Oh my gosh. This is maybe the best hook for an episode I've ever heard. And I'm only 3 minutes into this, but like, good gravy. There is a way to do side hustles and make more money. All right, I got to hear this. And if that were not enough, then hold on for our listener question, which we always like to tackle, our one thing and our worth knowing. Mike, I don't know. I think we've got a problem here with our one thing and our worth knowing. They sound awfully similar. One thing is one thing. Worth knowing is worth knowing. Are they really different?
Maybe we got to go back to the drawing board. But for today, we've got a one thing worth knowing.
Things. Anyway, we've got both of those coming up. In the meantime, should we get going on not burning ourselves out, but making more money?
More money, more good.
What are we talking about here? Like multiple income streams. You're talking about side businesses, gigging, like what kinds of things are included?
Gigging. Is that a verb? Gigging?
I don't know. I sounded like Dr. Evil there. I'm like parties, swinging. Sure. Yes. Sure. Yeah. Gigging is a verb.
Gigging.
Don't verb nouns.
Okay. Side hustles.
Double negatives and don't verb nouns. Yeah,
double negatives. I won't do no double negatives. Side hustles, side income. Yeah, today, obviously we've been like in the hustle culture of you just got to, you can do all that. I mean, it's fine to just have your one job and raising a couple of kids. But I mean, what are you really doing? Are you really working over there? So it's a big thing today, getting some, and especially passive income. This is one I get a lot, right? Hey, I'm working really hard. Life is super busy. And is there a way I could just get passive income? And I think the question there is there a way I could not work, but still have my income?
That's right. Doesn't every question in life boil down to, is it possible for me to work less, get more? That's it. That's the whole thing. Like, that's it. And I mean, to be fair up front, your answer to that is really no. Like, there's no free lunches out there, right? Like, but you're saying that there are many mistakes that people make in pursuit of this.
Yeah, exactly. So let's break it down into there's a couple of different ways that you can have passive income, other income streams. All right. So we're going to talk about today about literally like a side hustle, like another job. All right. JOB, or something. Then you got equity compensation. So you might have a job where you've got some RSUs or stock options. Okay. We're talking about real estate a little bit. We'll briefly touch on angel investing, what not to do. And then finally, Matt, your secret weapon that you're already working for you.
Oh, wow. This reminds me of the show about private assets. All right. No, that's all hot. And I think it's fair to say up front that this isn't just about more money. It's also, there are other reasons that people pursue stuff like this. Like what? I mean, this comes up from your clients all the time.
Well, it turns out, you're living your life every day, and it's really about life, not about money.
Right.
But that's a different podcast.
but like if you have this, it's like a Horcrux. Like, what if you lose your job and, at least you have this as an ongoing source of income? Or what if you decide like, oh, this is really taking off. Maybe I like this better than my 9 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you can jump into a pure side hustle, a pure job on the side, if it's something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy doing on the evenings or weekends or whatever it is. But it's not my number one go-to for my clients because they're usually just maxed out with their current job already being more than 40, 50, 60 hours a week, plus raising kids and doing all this stuff on the weekends. So this is what not to do. Don't add another job that's going to be 10 to 15 hours a week of your time just to try to incrementally figure out some way of making more money.
Right. Because it ends up having like a halo around it of, it seems like this amount of time, but it's not, it's not like a continuous function. It's a quantized function. Wow. I just made that less clear, not more clear. But like, I find this with tasks, it's like I have a task to do. And it should be a 10-minute task, but like everything that goes with it, like changing, like sometimes changing the computer, like, like the transfer time, like getting myself into a different mindset. It turns out to be a 1-hour task. And, that kind of thing builds up quickly.
That is absolutely the case.
So let's go through the different types here. You want to start with equity compensation? Yeah.
So let's a couple other what I view as side hustles. All right. Equity compensation, real estate, angel investing, and your secret weapon. Equity compensation. I view this as part of your total job, right? Is giving you money. And a lot of people just think it's the W-2 salary, but many of the people I work with get RSUs or stock options as part of their overall income. And that's already like a side hustle. That's already like extra income coming in. Now it is tied to your job. Like you said, Matt, hey, what about a job loss? Again, that's a slightly different episode, but it is one reason that people want to take on a side hustle, in case I got to pivot or do something else. But equity compensation, if that is part of your income, I would be like, hey, I've already got a thing on the side that's coming in that's helping me to earn more.
That's real. I've never thought of it that way. That's a really interesting reframe.
Yeah. So you think of it kind of as this like passive because it's coming in. People do this already. They don't even think about their income. Sometimes I have to point it out the other way. Hey, did you know your total income is not just the 200,000? You also get like another 200,000 of like equity, coming in. So, but most people say like, oh no, my W-2 job is just 200,000. All this stuff over here, this equity compensation is not real. I'm like, well, a lot of it is real, even today. So sometimes the stock options are going to be like future vesting and future, like see the stock growth. But a lot of the RSUs and other stuff, public companies, it's dropping in. So I would really view that as, hey, building wealth. And it's kind of this little bit of side income.
Anything you can do to avoid it, kind of like living in this like nether region of your mind where you don't really manage it or deal with it as
you definitely need to deal with it. Okay, so we're not going to get into it now. I think we had an episode all about equity compensation, but you definitely have to have a plan. So let's just leave it there. You need a plan. Make sure you do it. Make sure you have a plan. So if it's your RSUs, we talked about that. It's a bonus paid as stock, so you could sell it right away and reinvest it. Just make sure 5-minute task. Have a plan, for your equity compensation every year. It makes a massive difference for taxes, et cetera. So go back and listen to that episode.
All right. So let's talk about real estate. This is a big one for a lot of people, like some kind of income stream, from owning property. Like walk us through that one.
Yeah. So this is a big one. And Matt, we should do a whole episode on real estate and the ins and outs of real estate investing. Let's just bottom line it here. Real estate is a fantastic way of growing wealth, but it's not passive. Okay, this is active. Now, there are ways of doing it passively. You have real estate investment trusts. That's like a stock index fund, and you can just invest 20 grand, and now you own, a portfolio of real estate. You have no idea what it is or what's there, and it's just like kind of a stock market fund. It goes up and down in value. So it's a different kind of asset class to invest in. But when people are talking real estate, they're talking, hey, I want a rental property, or I'm going to get like a commercial building, a small apartment building, or a commercial, strip mall building. Is this a good idea? It's a fantastic way of building wealth, but it takes time and effort. So if that's enjoyable to you, this is what I tell my clients. If that sounds like fun, like, hey, I love properties and I love the idea of like owning something, and management is always kind of a pain in the butt, but I love, rearranging and stuff like that. Great. Go short-term rentals, long-term rentals, they're fantastic. Commercial real estate is also fantastic. But you got to put in a lot of effort and knowledge to go ahead and execute on those things.
There's not a free lunch here where it's like, I'm going to buy it and then I'm going to get someone to manage it and I'm going to sit back and sip a pina colada.
You definitely can do that, but there's still a lot of risk. So there's no free lunch of like, you could do what you just said. You can sit back and have a pina colada, but you might be having that for just a year. And then your market goes south and it's like, oh, I have to sell that thing at a loss and no more pina coladas.
Right. So that one sounds intensive. I got to tell you, this next one sounds even more intensive to me. I talk about the burnout factor. Angel investing, really?
You want to be an angel?
No, I mean, that sounds like you want to murder me. No.
So it's interesting. Angel investing, this is investing in super early stage, super small companies. And it used to be even 20 or 30 years ago, like there was investing groups and you would, join an investing group and then small companies would come and pitch deals. And these still exist today, but obviously with the advent of the internet and other things, a lot of it's now online. So angel investing is just investing in small companies. The upshot here is it's just risk and reward. So if you want to try to build, a slightly more diversified portfolio, is the way I think about this one. It's not really a side hustle, but you are investing in small companies. The way you can do this now, it doesn't have to be so intensive, Matt. There's platforms like WeFunder, and you can go to these platforms and find a ton of small companies that are looking for $5,000 or $10,000 from a bunch of people. And so you can dabble and go ahead and place some bets, on different companies. And it's passive in the sense that you're not, actively involved, and hopefully some of them hit and you make some money.
I'm starting to get some ideas about general principles that you're suggesting to people about how to go into this. But I think that before I kind of give them, I want you to give me some more breadcrumbs here by getting into the topic of what not to do, because I think that's very instructive.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit already. So what you don't want to do is commit more of your time and energy. That is your one resource you don't think about enough. We're talking about chasing money. All right. Side hustle. Like, let's get after it. Let's go ahead and create your own side business, or, do this multi-level marketing thing or whatever it is. Your time, your energy, your attention, these are limited resources. Just like your money is a limited resource. You need to be very careful with how you want to spend your time. The secret weapon is you are already doing this. You are already creating your own passive income stream by spending money now on your future, i.e., saving and investing. You're investing money in your 401k, you're investing in your IRA, in your brokerage account, saving those RSUs. You are saving money, and that is generating passive income now, but especially in the future. It's a flywheel. By saving and investing, it's a flywheel that is going to gain momentum. And once you reach 500,000, a million, 2 million, which seems impossible right now, but it's going to keep generating and go so that your yearly additions of 30 grand are going to be dwarfed by the $2 million portfolio and what it's gaining every year. And that's your passive income that is going to power, the future and your retirement and being financially independent, flexible with your time. And you're already doing it today. So you should feel great about all that saving and investing that's already creating passive income for yourself.
What's a rule of thumb
Is it really a good idea for you? That's where I go back to our previous comments. You need to really sit down and figure out what your energy level will be getting out of it. How will I feel if I'm spending 2 hours a week, 5 hours a week on this thing? And will I feel better than spending 2 hours a week, with my kids or 5 hours a week, with my kids? Like, what's a better use of your time and energy? If the answer is like, wow, yeah, first of all, I don't have kids. So yeah, I'd love to spend 5 hours, kind of doing this other thing with $20,000 I have to invest in a small business. Fantastic. Go do that. That's the litmus test for me, is if it's bringing you more energy than it's taking, fantastic. Go for it. But if you have a future that's feeling good, like, oh, I got sort of my safety net or building a flywheel, you can spend your time doing other things.
Yeah, I think that's what I find really valuable, honestly, about your number 1 and your number 5 here. Like recognizing that your employee stock compensation might be in itself a side hustle, and realizing that your existing investment portfolio is in a way a side hustle. Anything else to cover, or should we get to our listener question?
Let's do it.
All right. Here is this week's listener question. If you are going to side hustle, you might end up needing long-term care from burnout. What is long-term care insurance? And do you actually need it?
Okay. That's a good question. What is long-term care insurance? Long-term care insurance, as the name implies, is insurance. And so you pay premiums. So you pay money into this product, and you may use it in the future for insurance, which is covers. It will pay for you for long-term care, which could be like nursing home care. So you move into a nursing home and have expenses. Could be at help at home. You have some assisted living or some health people coming into your home to help take care of you when you get older. So you pay money now while you're still healthy. Those are the premiums or the amount you put into this product. And then you might spend, let's put some numbers to it, Matt. You might spend $100,000, $10,000 a year for 10 years. Okay, so you put in $100,000, and then that gives you $500,000 of coverage in the future. And so if you go into a nursing home or you need some extra assistance, you can now have claims up to $500,000. I'm making it very simple here, but up to that. And if you never use it, then if you just die, then you lose your $100,000. Okay, that's why it's called insurance. And that's how long-term care insurance works. Now,
It sounds to me like it's something I should start investing in, because I'm going to need a lot of help. I can tell you that already. And I'd love for someone to give me a bath personally.
Yeah. Well, good news, Matt. Your 50s is when we recommend looking at this stuff.
If you're looking for a nasty realization like that, or a life-changing insight like that, you should email pod@mortonfa.com. Let's go on. Let's go on to our thing.
I wanted to mention this about the long-term care insurance.
Oh yeah, go.
Definitely look into it. In your 50s is when we typically recommend that you look into it. But most people, or at least a lot of the people that I work with, can self-insure, which means you don't buy long-term care insurance. You don't spend your $100,000 to buy the long-term care insurance. Instead, you sort of bank that $100,000 for yourself.
I see.
And it can grow, right? You're in your 50s, the $100,000 could double to $200,000 or more. And you can, have that earmarked, for some long-term care. So you kind of set it aside, right, to be able to do that. And if you break out the numbers, if you have enough, that's sort of a better way of doing it.
That's really interesting. So like with all forms of insurance is for things where the unlikely event or the less probable event occurs, and it has a very, very high cost to it. And that's what you're trying to avoid. And if you can cover it in the normal course of your saving and investing, it's probably a better deal than the insurance.
Yeah, in fact, that's exactly right. And I hadn't thought about that when it comes to long-term care insurance. The best time for buying insurance is for a unlikely event that has a big financial impact. So
Right.
home insurance, all right, unlikely my house burns down, but if it does, that's $1 million. Okay. So, and the reason why that is, Matt, is it's unlikely, since it's unlikely, it doesn't cost you very much to insure against it. And if it does happen, you really want the insurance because that was $1 million you're out of. And so it doesn't cost you very much, but you really want it.
All right. With that, let's get to our one thing. All right.
McDonald's.
You've got a one thing that you have hopefully tied into the overall theme of the episode.
McDonald's is a side hustle. I didn't know this. My producer found this out. And I never thought about this. But McDonald's itself, when you think about McDonald's, the burgers and the fries and taking the kids there after they win the sporting event, that is the side hustle. Did you know what their real business is?
Obesity.
Obesity. You don't get paid for that, unfortunately.
They're the people behind Ozempic.
Real estate.
Oh,
Real estate.
real
They are
estate.
the 5th largest landlord on earth.
Let's get on to our one worth knowing. See, you've got me doing it. I'm confused. Let's get on to our worth knowing. All right, hit me. I don't even know where you're going with this.
Oh, yeah, worth knowing. Real estate. So real estate, we think of this like great, we're back to real estate, worth knowing that Airbnb. So you think of like, oh man, I should become an Airbnb host, and make tons of money by renting out my stuff. And so the average host on Airbnb makes $14,000 a year.
Oh my gosh. That's
Which
kind
is
of
interesting.
grim. No, I mean,
Yeah.
that's depressing. That says to me, this is a terrible, because to me, I've said this so many times on this show, the purpose of money is to alleviate stress. It's to eliminate the worry I get that I will not be able to have the things that my family needs. It's really like I'm willing to pay for things that eliminate stress and worry and effort, I guess, because I'm as lazy as everyone else for myself. This seems like a horrible ratio of stress and time to worry.
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Well, no, it's probably, I bet that statistic is because of the long tail, right? There's like, 90% of Airbnb is like, I'll rent out my house for like the weekend,
see.
or like a sporting event or something like that. So you make like
Oh, I see.
$4,000. It's probably that big
Yeah.
long tail. It's not kind of the average. So, but I will tell you this story in terms of your comment and our earlier comments on real estate. All right, I own a property that's our vacation home, and we do rent it out a lot. So it is kind of a rental property, and we use Airbnb and short-term rentals to kind of do that. And most of the time, it chugs along, so it's great. It's like, oh, it seems pretty passive. It's like managed by someone else. They handle all the coming and going. It could go for months at a time where we don't really have to do anything. But then every now and then, it's like, boom, there's a catastrophe. There's like a water leak, or there's a heating problem, or there's like a tree that comes down, and like, you got to deal with it. I mean, you're the owner. So in terms of stress, it's like, oh, is this a good money maker? Yeah, it's like chugging along. It's making some money. I won't lie. Like, I like it. It's kind of wealth building. But does it take time and effort? Absolutely. And stress as well. So you just got to play the game for yourself. Like, for us as a family, we really like having another property and playing around with that, so it's really enjoyable. But if it's purely like, if someone mentioned to me like, no, I just purely want wealth building, I'm like, probably other strategies to go after. There's no free lunch around here. You just have to decide how you want to go through the journey of enjoying every day.
Well, that's a delightfully uplifting and much more positive way to frame that than the way I put it. That's why you're here. That's what you do. And on that note, I'm looking forward to hearing more of that from you next time. But for now, let's leave it for 5 Minute Finance.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining us on 5 Minute Finance. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to and rate the podcast. It makes a huge difference for my show. You want more? Find Morton FA on Substack. If you have a comment or question, please email pod@mortonfa.com. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be considered for investment advice. Opinions expressed are as of the date of recording. Such opinions are subject to change. I cannot guarantee the accuracy or completeness of the data presented here.